Welcome to the Unit 4 Study Guide.
Thanks, buddy. Here, go out there. Okay, let's take a look at question number 1 on here. We've got... This first question is about domain and range. Here's function P. It represents the number of people in the library on a Monday as a function of hours since the library opened. Here's the graph of function P. So based on the graph and the situation, which domain and range makes sense for P? So we want to, first off, you need to remember what domain and range are, right? Domain is all the possible inputs on our horizontal axis. We've got the domain. It goes left to right. Domain. It's all the kind of the x values. And here what our domain is, they're talking about the hours since opening. And we're going to remember range is all the outputs. It's those y values. Range goes up and down. So I'm going to write range over here is everywhere where your graph goes, right? This range goes from down here at 0 all the way up to that maybe looks like about 80 right there. So we got this range from 0 up to 80. I guess it's 85. I'm seeing down here in the multiple choice section. That range goes from 0 to 85. And our domain goes from 0 to 14. Next, we got to think about, are we dealing with whole numbers or all numbers? So I've got written down here, this isn't going to be on the test, but you got to kind of remember, what's all numbers? All numbers, we've got fractions. All numbers include the whole numbers. That's why it says all. It's got all the whole numbers and everything with fractions and decimal places and partial numbers. Pi would be one of the whole numbers. One of all numbers. Pi is all numbers because it's 3.14. But over here, whole numbers, these are the numbers we've been working with since kindergarten. A whole number is like, it's 1, it's 2, it's 99. It could be 1,000. It's any number that doesn't have any fractions or any decimal places, right? So then we're going to think about which one's whole and which one's all. So the hours since opening, when we're dealing with time, you got milliseconds, 30 seconds. You've heard of half an hour. Sometimes people say it's a quarter of an hour till 10 o'clock. So we got these fractions when we're dealing with time. It's continuous. So time is going to be in all numbers because of the fractions. But number of visitors to this library on a Monday, the number of visitors, we're not going to have half a visitor. Even if it's just a little kid or somebody that's missing some limbs or something, they're a whole person. This whole person is going to visit the library. So we're not going to have half a visitor to the library. There's not going to be 3/4 of a visitor. We're not going to have 40.2978 of a visitor. So that's where we got our whole numbers dealing with the visitors in our range. So you got to carefully look through here. Domain, all numbers from 0 to 85. So domain is all numbers, but it goes left and right. We're talking 0 to 14. So it's definitely not A. B, domain, whole numbers, only from 0 to 14. And that's not true because, like I said, we got half an hour, quarter of an hour. So this domain that goes from left to right, it's going to be all numbers. And so I'm thinking C is the right answer down here. I'm going to circle that, and then I'm going to double check. Let's circle this in green for the correct answer. C. So the domain is all numbers from 0 to 14, because we got half an hour, quarter of an hour, 10% of an hour, 6 minutes. And then we've got range, whole numbers from 0 to 85. Down here, 0, all the way up to 85 is our range, our possible outputs of these visitors. And there are in whole numbers because we're not going to have any half visitors or quarter visitors. And that's question 1, remember? Domain goes left and right, range goes up and down. Whole numbers do not have any fractions. Look at your axes. Are you looking at time? Or are you looking at a number of people?